Hi everyone. Today I wanted to go through a game that really impressed me. The game was played by a child prodigy called Rameshbabu Praggnanandhaa. So first of all, I want to apologize if I mispronounce that name. So if anyone is from India and knows how to pronounce it better, can let me know. To make it easier, I'm gonna call him Prag through the game. I heard that they call him that way. So let's talk a little bit about him. He was the youngest international master in history, and he later became a grandmaster, and he was one of the youngest ever. So he is a really amazing player who has a lot of future ahead. And the game I'm gonna analyze was played when he was only 11 years old. He was already an international master, and he played against Axel Bachmann, who is the top player from Paraguay. So he played against a really strong opponent with the black pieces, and he won quite quickly. So let's get to the game. So Bachmann, who is white, played the move d4. Prag replied with the move knight to f6, which is a flexible move so far because black can either play a king's Indian, the Grunfeld, or even an Imso Indian after e6 and bishop to b4, or maybe if he just plays e6 and d5, he will just play the standard and orthodox opening. Bachmann played the move bishop to f4, which is probably inviting black to play a move like d5, after which we would get a London system, which as far as I know, Bachmann is quite strong with that system. It's a system that is quite positional and quiet, but Prag decided to play the move g6, and Bachmann here played quite a rare move, which I think was a bit surprising. I don't really know why he played the move knight to c3. Normally a standard reply would be something like e3, and after bishop g7, maybe h6, trying to play this kind of London setups. I am not sure if Bachmann was afraid of a move like knight to h5 here, trying to get the bishop after bishop to e5, f6, and bishop to g3. But in any case, the move knight to c3, it's a bit strange. It plans to go e4, maybe get into a Pirc, but after move d5, I think that black is pretty fine. So Bachmann decided to play the move queen to d2. So we can see that he's already planning to castle long, maybe try to exchange bishops. So he's playing quite aggressively, which is also a bit surprising because normally when playing against young players, they tend to be quite tactical. So it is more common probably to avoid complications. But I am not sure why Bachmann decided to play this way. So after bishop to g7, bishop to h6 makes sense after playing queen to d2, and after castling, white took, and we get this position where white can develop his pieces, but still didn't develop his knight and his bishop, so it makes sense to castle long. Otherwise, black would be has a very good development, so he would be perfectly fine. So here white played long castle. Another alternative was to play h4, but as usual, when you get an attack on the flank, a counter attack on the center would have been fine, like c5, which is a similar idea played in the game. One of the points is that after d takes c5, d4, black is already getting the center, control of the center. Even if he doesn't get back the pawn on d5, he will play something like e5, and white is still quite delayed in development to attack on the king side. So after long castle, again Pragg played the move c5, which is quite sharp and interesting. That's typical of an 11-year-old kid. So Bachmann played e3. One of the points was that's taking on c5 after queen a5 and knight takes d5, queen a2. Black has a lot of compensation, is already attacking first. So after e3, knight to c6, f3. Another interesting move by black, c4, planning to attack. So the main point when you have opposite side castling, so white castled on the queen side and black castled on the king side, is to have the initiative first, even if it costs material like a pawn or even sometimes a piece. But the main point is to be the first attacking, so to bring the action first, and this is what we'll see in the game. So Bachmann played the move e4, so trying to control the center, and here the move b5 is already one of the point to open lines against the white king. White took on d5, and here another sharp move, which is knight to b4. It was possible to take on d5, and after taking on b5, knight to a5, black has some compensation because he will play that move like rook b8, trying to attack on the b file, maybe bishop a6 or bishop d7. The queen might come to d6. So black is active, black has compensation, so that was an alternative. After knight to b4, this is like again more aggressive, because it's Pragg doesn't care about the material, he just wants to attack. One of the ideas is to play bishop to f5, targeting c2. So that's why Bachmann, who is a very strong player, decided to also take some concrete action with the move knight taking on b5. One of the points was if a3, after taking on d5, knight takes d5, a6, knight c3, takes, and knight d5. If white captures on c4, black is attacking on c3. So if white captures on c4, knight to e3 would win the exchange. So still the position is not so easy, but black definitely is not worse here. So after taking on b5, Pragg, as we can see, is playing really brave chess, taking on a2, which apparently traps the knight after king to b1. But here came another amazing move. So this is what I talked about before. Normally these child prodigies, they are really strong at tactics. So here he played another move, which is queen takes d5. So the main point, I mean the first point is that taking on a2 would lose the queen after c3 check. So here white, in a very complicated position, played a dubious move, which is knight to a3. So if we check the alternatives, going back to c3, after taking on c3 and queen c3 and bishop a6, I really prefer black's position because it's materially balanced, but black has an open b file to attack the king, so he can double rooks and just bring all his pieces. And the other sharp line was knight to c7, which seems to win some material. But after queen b7, it is not possible to take on a8 because of c3, and after bishop takes e4, rook b8, black has a very strong initiative for just one pawn, so I would still prefer black's position, but probably this had to be played, because after knight to a3 came another strong move, c3, just strong and pretty much forced because it defends the knight on a2, and after taking on c3, rook b8 and king a1, this is pretty much forced. Queen to a5 attacks the knight, and after king takes a2, here came the winning move. I am not sure if Bachmann missed this move, so I would like to ask you to pause the video and try to find the only winning move for black. So here, first of all, a very tempting move, which is actually not good, is bishop to e6, because after c4, black is still holding the position. But the strong move is knight to d5, which wins the game, because after knight to a2, black is just attacking on c3. So after knight e2, knight e2 was playing in the game. After a move like c4, well, knight c3 just either wins the queen or will win the queen and checkmate basically. So after queen to a3, knight e3, king a1, and queen takes a3. After knight e2, now bishop e6 is very strong. So bishop e6 straight away was not good, but after knight d5 and bishop e6, here Bachmann resigned in view of c4, knight b4, and after king to b2, knight to d3, checks, double check actually with the knight and the rook, king a2, bishop takes e4, white cannot take with the knight because it's pinned, so after king a1, queen takes a3 is checkmate. So I think this was a pretty amazing game, again, for an 11-year-old kid, and I would like to highlight from this game, so the importance about being the first to attack, so getting the initiative when you're when castling on opposite sides. So this is pretty important, even if you give material. And then there's another thing which I think is pretty important in this case, which is no matter who you play against, just don't be afraid and just go even for the very, very sharp lines. Like we can see the moves like knight to b4, queen takes d5. So they're really sometimes difficult moves to make, and even more against stronger opponents, because at this time Bachmann was, and I believe that he's still stronger opponent than Pragg, but still don't be afraid to make these moves. So hope that you enjoyed the game, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.